All right, I'm here at the high-speed rail, conference, and with Congressman Tom Suozzi. I'm Alex Garrett. Congressman, thanks for joining me today.
Alex, thanks so much for having me on.
This event's put on by Labor Press and all the good people there. But why did you come today? Talk about your support for this high-speed rail.
I mean, the bottom line is that high-speed rail is about making people's lives better, but it's also about creating an enormous amount of jobs, jobs that have good wages and good benefits. And we forget sometimes that the basic idea of America has always been that if you're willing to work hard, you get a decent life in return for that. I'll work hard in return, I make enough money so I can buy a house, educate my kids, pay for health insurance, and retire one day without being scared. And there's too many jobs in America these days that don't make that promise anymore. So having jobs by building something like a high-speed rail project will deliver good jobs at good wages with good benefits for people for a generation.
You were talking in there, you wrote a letter about this. Tell us about the letter if you can.
Well, back in 2021, when we were first talking about the infrastructure project, the infrastructure bill, which has provided, so much money for creating big public works projects throughout the country, I wanted to make high-speed rail a part of the conversation. And I wanted to make sure that we could start getting people in the Northeast to start talking about high-speed rail. They're doing it in California. They're doing it in some of the Southwest. I wanted to try and make the Northeast corridor, and especially from New York City to Boston, a part of the project. And so that's what we're trying to still do. Now, this is not going to happen today. It's not going to happen tomorrow. It's going to take 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years. But these kind of big visionary projects are what turn around economies and what provide enormous amount of jobs that change people's lives for the better. Being
reelected, by the way, congratulations. Tell us about your role with labor now back in Congress. I know you have the Labor Caucus, so talk about that for a minute.
Well, I've always been a very pro-union person. I was the mayor of my hometown. I was the county executive of Nassau County. I was in Congress for 6 years. I'm back in Congress now after my brief hiatus. And I started the Labor Caucus back in 2021 or so. And the idea is that whenever you're looking at an issue like immigration or climate change or any issue that you look at as a legislator, you should be looking at it through the lens of how does this affect people's wages and benefits. My grandfather was an electrician for the IBEW Local 3. He helped put the lights on top of the Empire State Building.
Oh, wow.
So I know that the union movement and the idea of remembering that whenever you do a project, you got to provide people with good wages and benefits. That's what makes people's lives better in our country.
Well, thanks so much for joining us today at here at the Labor Press event. Thanks for joining us.
Okay, thanks for having me.